One eye on the Middle East and everything happening there. We were covering all the other news of the day that you need to be filled in on. Joining me, Will Hild, Executive Director of Consumers Research. Will, thank you for being here.
It's great to be with you.
Greatly appreciate it. Look, your group was blasting several hospitals, one of them not too far from me in Detroit here, Henry Ford Health, for using tax dollars on a political agenda. Wait a second. So why would a hospital have a political agenda? Unless maybe something like what the Supreme Court decided yesterday, that they won't back down from preventing children from being mutilated for transgender operations. But what kind of political agenda are we talking about here, Will?
That's a great question. And one of the things we found is that a number of hospital systems from across the country have really been taken over by this so-called woke mind virus that, Elon coined that term. And what that means is that on a number of different issues, from ridiculous net zero targets that cost patients and taxpayers money, to DEI programs that are discriminatory both to the hiring and promotion within these hospitals, but sometimes even the way that they treat patients. They treat patients differently based on their race or sex. And then last but not least, they have engaged, unfortunately, in the mutilation of children through what they call sex change procedures. Of course, that's impossible. You can't change your sex. So what it really turns into is the mutilation of children. We've seen this in other different hospital systems, but Henry Ford Health in your area, unfortunately, hits the trifecta. It's done all three.
So how are they allowed? I mean, I don't get this. You got the diversity, equity, inclusion. You've got the gender ideology. You've got all of this nonsense and your agendas for hiring and so forth. But how is it that, first of all, why would my tax dollars be going to a private healthcare group like this, unless it was in the form of, repaying for work done on people that had Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it might be? Why would my tax dollars be going to Henry Ford or any other hospital in this country? They're a private entity. Why is my money going there in the first place?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the truth is that because of the prestige or the historical prestige of these institutions, places like Henry Ford Health, they get tons of state, federal grants and subsidies, including their 501c3 status. They don't pay taxes on all the money that they make, basically. The idea is that it's because they're focused on a charitable mission, that they're supposed to be just focused exclusively on providing the best patient care that they can. And historically, that's been true. That's why these institutions have the reputation that they have. But just like we saw during COVID, a lot of the medical establishment, a lot of these institutions that over decades have earned this credibility are burning it in order to pursue a far left progressive agenda. And that's what we see at a lot of these hospital systems. They would rather focus on all of these other things than focus on patient care. In fact, the CEO of Cleveland Clinic, another one of the hospitals on our woke alert, said that healthcare is only part of what we do. It's only part of our mission. That's a direct quote of what he said, which is just destroys the whole underlying concept of why they have a 501c3 nonprofit status in the first place. So that's why we're raising the alarm, is because this is something that the taxpayers and both at the state and the federal level have been subsidizing. And it's something that we believe that should be investigated at both the state and federal level, especially after yesterday's Supreme Court case, making it clear that states have a right to ban the sexual mutilation of minors.
Well, the question would be, how far can we go to, because Donald Trump has made clear that DEI programs and a lot of these things are no longer the accepted path for anybody getting federal money, be it schools. I don't see how hospitals would be any different from that. How do we rein this in? I don't want a doctor that's hired based on their sex or race. I want a doctor who's the most qualified, who went to a good medical school, who can do the work that I need done, whatever it may be, life-saving work. I don't want somebody who just, checked a couple of boxes. I'm not interested in that. I don't think most Americans are, right?
No, you're 100% right. Whenever DEI has been polled, people do not want people selected based on race and sex. They want them selected based on competency. And other than maybe airline pilots, I can't think of an area other than medicine where it would be more important to focus exclusively on meritocracy, exclusively on competence and skill, than in selecting doctors. And yet, time and time again, we have seen hospitals take on DEI in their hiring and promotion explicitly. And as you noted, the Trump administration has made this very clear. they are going to start enforcing the civil rights prohibitions against that type of preferences. Vanderbilt medical system, when we were investigating them, we were looking at all their DEI pages. They put it all behind a password-protected site so that we couldn't see it. Someone had clearly gotten
they
word
tried to
that
hide.
we were investigating them, and so it shows that they are committed to this. They just want to hide it. And so I do think it's important for people like Harmeet Dillon at the DOJ Office of Civil Rights to start investigating these hospitals.
Yeah, it's not just doctors and airline pilots. I want my architect. If they're designing a big building, I want them to be hired because they're the best, not because they look or act a certain way. Right? I don't care about any of that. You want to pretend you're a girl? Whatever. You probably have bigger issues. But look, I don't have to play into that nonsense. And I certainly don't have to play into that nonsense when I'm choosing a doctor, an airline pilot, an architect, an engineer, whatever it may be. This nonsense needs to stop. And look, it's an 80-20 deal now, Will. It is. It is. People are tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of it. It wears people out. We're sick of it. Stop trying to force it on our children. Stop trying to force it on us professionally. Go away. I'll let you have the last word.
No, I totally agree. America has spoken on this issue. This was, one of the most important ads of the Trump administration was the Democrats are for they, them. He's for he, us. That's a very clear repudiation of this DEI nonsense, of this far-left transgender ideology nonsense. Democracy should rule the day. People have spoken. DEI is out, and we need to get rid of it. It's bad for consumers. It's bad for patients, and it's bad for these hospital systems.
Exactly right about that. Will Hild, Executive Director of Consumers Research, chasing down all that shouldn't be here. Will, thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us.
Great to be with you.
Really appreciate it. All right.